What's up everybody, it's Matt from Peter Glenn, and in this video we're going to show you what a stomp pad is and how to put it on your snowboard. Let's check this out. All right, so a stomp pad is some sort of traction that you're gonna stick on the back of your board, kind of by your back binding on the inside. This is to give you some traction for when you're not strapped in. When you're getting off the lift and you set your foot by your back binding, yeah, you can push it against your binding to help give you some stability, but the top of your board can still be a little slippery, especially with that snow on it, and your foot can slide around. This just basically makes it a little bit easier, just helps your foot grip the top of your board a little bit better until you can get to a spot where you can strap in. So a lot of times stomp pads are just a single piece like this crab grab scromper. This is something we stick back here and it's got a little raised ridge on it so you can scrape the snow off the bottom of your boot. But a lot of times there can be somewhere that you get multiple pieces and you can stick them in multiple places towards the back of your binding. Anything that's gonna give the back of the board some dimension and give it some grip. So the first thing we wanna do to the back of your board here near your back binding is we wanna make sure that this is clean, but we also wanna make sure that it is at room temperature. You can just take a little bit of Windex, give it a little squirt, and clean that thing off and wipe it down. Anything to get the dirt, grime, and the dust off of there, because we don't want any of that sticking to the adhesive. That can make the stomp pad fall off. And then I also had mentioned room temperature. If you put a stomp pad onto a cold top sheet, the adhesive cannot set up properly, and a lot of times you could lose your stomp pad the day you put it on. So having that board at room temperature, having the stomp pad at room temperature, and also putting it on at least a day before you use it can be very, very crucial to make sure that the stomp pad stays put. So from this part, it's super easy. We're just gonna open this thing up. We're gonna take the stomp pad out, and it's gonna have a adhesive backing on there. We wanna peel that little piece off. And then super easy. You're just gonna set this where you want it and stick it down. Now, one thing you wanna do is, again, make sure that it's as close to your back binding as you can get it, but make sure that it's not directly against the back binding, because you might actually wanna move your binding in the future, and if your stomp pad is in the way, it's gonna be really, really hard to move that binding forward. But again, get it pretty close to the back binding, and for this one, we're gonna want it right smack dab in the middle, and that way we can get traction and we can get the nice spot for you to clean your boot off, just because that's how this specific stomp pad is designed. And then we're going to go ahead and stick it down. And then after you stick it down, just kind of push it down and go all the way along the stomp pad. I go along the sides on this one. Make sure that it's pushed down really, really well. And I'm gonna push it down in the middle. And you can even take your foot and step on it if you need to. But just make sure that all of the adhesive is engaged and stuck down on the board. Now, if you have multiple pieces, you can obviously stick some by the toe edge, some by the heel edge. But one thing you don't wanna get too close to the edge, because when you're carving in some deeper snow, if that snow comes up over the board and hits your stomp pad, it can peel it off. But if it is one of these single ones, obviously just get it stuck right on the back, right smack dab in the middle. That way, if you're standing a little forward or a little bit backward, you're gonna at least catch some of that with your boot. And now the next thing that you wanna do with this is just let it sit at room temperature for about 24 hours, if you can. The longer you let it sit, the longer that adhesive has time to set up and really, really stick to your board to make sure that you're not gonna lose it in the future. But if you got any questions beyond anything that we talked about in this video, definitely leave some comments down below. We're on there every single day trying to answer your questions. We want to make sure we can get you into some rad gear, but most importantly, we want to make sure you can use it properly too. Also make sure to like, subscribe, and definitely get that notification bell on too so you can find out when all the new videos drop. And grab yourself a new stomp pad from peterglenn.com, get it stuck on your board and get out and ride, because any day of riding is a good day of riding.